used to be seen as a weakness in leaders. Many people assumed good leaders were authoritative and uncompromising, but we now know that empathy isn't a leadership weakness, it's a strength. A growing body of research shows that when leaders show understanding and care for their workers, employees are happier and more productive. We also know that empathy, along with related strengths, like the ability to inspire and unite people around a shared vision, is critical to what researchers call transformational leadership. Transformational leaders are exceptionally skilled at earning trust, motivating teams, and empowering employees. And research shows that they tend to get better results. Statistically, transformational leaders are more likely to be women. This may be because women are generally encouraged to be more empathetic and collaborative than men. When women combine those skills with other key leadership traits, such as vision, enthusiasm, and determination, we're able to lead in a way that's unique and highly impactful. You may already be doing some of these things that make you a transformational leader, and no matter where you are in your leadership journey, you can take intentional steps to lead in a way that's even more effective. Here are some ways to get you started. A key element of transformational leadership is showing your team members that you value their contributions and believe in their potential. And one way to do this is to make sure you're giving plenty of positive feedback. Constructive feedback is important too, but most leaders don't fully understand how important it is to balance criticism with encouragement. Research shows that the ideal ratio of positive to critical feedback is about 4-1.
One of the phrases that has always stuck with me is praise freely, criticize sparingly. People do their absolute best work when they feel confident.
Positive feedback should be as specific as possible so that the person knows exactly what they got right. For example, rather than just telling someone they did a great job, you could say something like, I was really impressed with how you used our data in yesterday's presentation. Transformational leaders are also intentional about creating psychological safety on their teams. This means that they work to make sure people feel included, respected, and comfortable speaking up. You can do this by modeling inclusive behavior. For example, consistently invite diverse voices to speak. Include the most junior team members in discussions and act on your team's suggestions. Perhaps, most important of all, be generous when people make mistakes. Employees perform best when they're not afraid to mess up, so don't penalize team members for mistakes. Instead, coach them on how to learn and improve for next time.
One of the first elements of our onboarding was to actually learn about pretty catastrophic mistakes that prior managers had made, but none of the stories ended with, and that person was fired. In fact, the senior leader made a point of providing those examples to sort of say, hey, look, inevitably you're going to make a mistake, but the bottom line is you're not judged because you made a mistake. You're judged on the level of ownership you take and the steps you take to immediately fix it for the client.
I had a manager who was very clear about the fact that if things go wrong, that's okay. And he's there to shoulder the responsibility with me. And I think that kind of language, that we kind of community language, created a very safe space where I felt like I could pursue all sorts of ideas.
Another way to lean into transformational leadership is to intentionally share power and information. That could mean involving all team members in the early stages of your team's planning process. It could mean empowering them to make decisions in their domains. Or it could mean giving everyone visibility into decisions that impact your team's work. You can also share power by inviting junior employees to step into the spotlight. For example, by leading a team meeting or presenting your team's work.
And I've also had other supervisors that have been really good at sharing power and leadership, they actually have walked into a room of senior leaders and said, I'm not the one you need to talk to. Nadia is the one who is the expert on this.
So I personally value transparency so much, and I'm fortunate enough to work with a CEO who has a similar mindset. We really have a keen sense that silos get in the way of progress.
Finally, research shows that transformational leaders often have a unique ability to inspire their teams by articulating a strong mission and vision. There are a few steps that can help you do this effectively. First, speak to your team about your own enthusiasm for your company's mission. Second, help team members connect the dots between your company's mission and your team's day-to-day work. And third, show how your company's work is making a positive impact.
I have had one leader that was amazing at inspiring me with a strong sense of purpose. He demonstrated his own passion for our customers by sharing real stories of customers and how they were impacted by the work that we were doing.
One last note. As you're developing your leadership skills, remember that leading in a transformational way is different from simply being nice. As a transformational leader, you will sometimes need to do things that don't feel nice in the moment. For example, you may need to give someone feedback that's hard for them to hear. Or you may need to deprioritize a project that isn't producing results, even if that disappoints the people who've worked on it. The important thing is to do what serves your team best in the long term. Transformational leadership takes ongoing effort, but it's one of the best things you can do for your career. These skills will help you build teams that are truly inclusive and motivated to make an impact. And that's a great track record to have. And it's one that women are uniquely positioned to achieve.